I look over there, and next thing I know, she's sitting there pulling the trigger, and nothing's happening.
My life was changed here at Hibler's Taxidermy almost a half a century ago.
Tonight's headline, South Vietnam surrenders and the communists occupy Saigon.
The year was 1975, and I was selling memberships to a national hunting club part-time while dealing used auto parts as my real job. With no money, no experience, I got the idea of starting a club of my own, sharing the unique culture of hunting across the Lone Star State. Our first magazine was called Texas Hunter's Hotline, and it was an instant success. As the stories grew and the pages increased, so did the membership for the Texas Trophy Hunters Association, and the magazine took on the same name. Soon, we created the first Hunters Extravaganza that had never been done before. And in 1998 came the television show, Journal of the Texas Trophy Hunters. I'm Jerry Johnston. Join us as we chronicle the people, the culture, and the experience that is the Journal of the Texas Trophy Hunters.
We try to get away and go fishing and hunting any chance we get. My wife is it's a lot of fun to be around and loves hunting and fishing, and very lucky to have her in my life. We saw a Harris hawk come and land in a tree just right in front of us, and then there was like probably 2 or 3 other Harris hawks that flew by after that one. It kind of put us alert. We thought maybe something would be coming out. Tristan wants to kill a bobcat to have a life-size mount for the house.
Good thing Alan Hibler and his wife Tristan have a good, solid relationship. It's about to be tested in this sendero in South Texas. They already have a hawk that's responded to the electronic caller, which is a good sign that something on the ground must be moving.
I saw that bobcat out of the corner of my eye, and it was coming in, and it had a real strange limp, and I couldn't tell what was going on. And as it got closer, we realized that it only had 3 legs. Tristan's on him, and I said, "That's a good shot. Go ahead and take it." And he hadn't taken it yet, and I look over there, and next thing I know, she's sitting there pulling the trigger, and nothing's happening.
It's everything Alan can do not to grab the rifle himself. But this is Tristan's hunt, and he's doing all he can to help her get this rifle to shoot.
She keeps pulling the trigger, nothing's happening. I know if I start doing too much movement, it's going to bust us and run off. But I knew also, if she can't pull the trigger and it's not going off, then I don't have anything. So I flipped the bolt up and put it down, thinking maybe it'd reset it. And when I did that, the bobcat took off. Sorry.
I tried to pull the trigger, but it
I know, I saw you. I don't know why. Just don't know.
That's a pretty one.
See, he's missing a leg.
Yeah.
It's cool to see him come in like that.
Yeah, he was a pretty bobcat. He's big.
Believe me, I've learned from our other hunting experiences, it doesn't work to get sassy or anything like that. It doesn't get you anywhere. So I just kind of try to stay calm and tell her it's okay, because she was the one with the gun. She's already taken it hard as it is. She really wanted to kill one, and the kind of unique, a 3-legged bobcat came in and gave us a shot, and it didn't work out. But I've learned that you're better off just to stay calm and not get too excited, because she doesn't respond too well to that, I guess. And it's not every day that you get to go out somewhere and call in a bobcat like that, but to call in a 3-legged bobcat, I haven't really ever heard of that.
It's a memory they'll carry with them for a long time. A 3-legged bobcat at 25 yards in broad daylight. But then, I guess you could say, Alan Hibler is in the memory business. And I started figuring out, what to do. And so I told this old boy, I said, now look, we might accidentally get lucky. And if we do, if I say, there's a deer, do not slam the brakes on.
You know, I grew up in my family business, which is taxidermy. My grandpa started it in 1963. My dad grew up doing it. Now me and my brother work there, and it's taught me a lot of skills in life.
We come over a hill, and it was the biggest buck I ever saw in my life standing there, broadside, about 50, 60 yards. It's a place where hunting stories and a good lie or two have been thrown around for almost 60 years. Hibler's Taxidermy in Kingsville, Texas, started by the great Joe Hibler himself, and today is operated by his son David, grandson Joe, and Alan Hibler. 3 generations carrying on a legacy in South Texas. It's a place that means a lot to me. My life was changed here at Hibler's Taxidermy almost a half a century ago. The feeling that I grew up with in being in this taxidermy shop is something that I somehow wanted to make the magazine reflect that. I wanted everybody to see hunting like I saw it.
The Journal of the Texas Trophy Hunters is made possible through a partnership with Kubota. For every task, every terrain, there's a Kubota dealer in your area. Sniper Hunting Products, changing the game of wireless game cameras. And Horizon Firearms, custom long-range rifles and accessories. Closed captioning for the Journal of the Texas Trophy Hunters is made possible through a partnership with Sniper Hunting Products, changing the game in wireless game cameras.
Why don't you take me over to the area that you remember the best? I can remember since I was very young just really having a strong connection to the taxidermy thing. Just the artistry that goes into it and the design and stuff like that. I was always drawn to it. You know, my grandpa, he kind of established the reputation of Hibler's for quality, and then my dad kind of brought in the artistic part of it, and I've had 2 very good teachers to learn those 2 qualities from.
We're here in Dr. Hibler's office and introducing a new invention for taxidermists. Check this out.
You know, one thing that we bring to the table on taxidermy is, you know, my dad, grandpa, me and my brother, we all grew up hunting. We all grew up seeing what the animals were supposed to look like in the wild and studying them, and that translates well to the taxidermy.
It's not just taxidermy that the Hibler family is known for in South Texas. An entire separate crew is dedicated to meat processing.
Looks like they're just cutting the steaks out right now.
But that's nail guy?
Yeah, that's nail guy.
Everything from steaks to jerky to sausage. From whitetail deer and nail guy, Hibler's is, in a way, the world headquarters for free-ranging nail guy steaks. What's so amazing is everything from an automatic trot line to everything you got in there, I know who invented it.
Yes, sir.
That man right there did.
There's a couple things that I'm really proud of. One of the things is the stuff that my dad and grandpa have built. You know, we have the rail system and the cooler and stuff. We didn't hire anybody to come in and do that for us. My grandpa built it all. I mean, he engineered it, built it. I mean, it's all built with his hands. So you see these bobcats right here?
Yeah.
We would have had a 3-legged one to do this too if everything would have gone right.
That's right.
And then the other thing that I like showing is just the neat animals we have in there. That mountain lion right there, a guy in Orange Grove lived in town, I guess. Went on his back porch and that thing was there eating dog food out of his dog tray.
I heard about that.
A lot of times I would go to work with my dad when I was really young. I would find old scrap bases and stuff and wood that wasn't being used for anything, even old panels. And then I would just make a little dirt scene with grass and cactus or whatever and try and sell it or whatever. I mean, I was very young when I was doing that, but that's what really, I really enjoyed doing that. Next thing you know, I needed animals to put in those scenes. And so it's kind of a natural thing. You got to do the taxidermy to put the animals in those scenes. I want to show you what I did in the 8th grade. So it's
wow.
Half life-size drinking water. And
that is, I've never seen another one. That is cool.
What was kind of fun about it is you can't really find a mannequin form that's already made for a drinking, head down
right.
Black buck like that. So I just kind of took several different ones and pieced them together and modified it and made it to where he's drinking water. And
8th grade, wow. He was a practicing taxidermist at a very young age, juggling school and books, and somehow Alan Hibler found the time to begin capturing wildlife images in bronze.
In the taxidermy world, you're going to do, even if you're not a sculptor, you're going to have to fix a broken point, sculpt that. You're sculpting all the faces on all the deer. So I grew up around my dad sculpting all the time. I wanted to have it look like it's jumping over a dead oak tree. and coming into a rattle. I'm gonna have a father and son rattling, and I'm gonna do it in 2 pieces to where you could buy it just for the deer or buy them together, and you can put it across the table and have them rattling, and then it'll look like the deer's busting in on them. Any chance I get that I have some extra time after hours or whatever, I like to be working on some kind of sculpture. This is my first sculpture that I did. I was in, I think, 6th or 7th grade when I did that, and
Wow.
I was just kind of fooling around with some wax that my dad had laying around and wanted to do an elk, and he thought it was, you know, decent enough to cast it for me, and you know, it's not that great, but I think he wanted to encourage me more than anything.
You did that in the 6th grade?
Yeah, I think I was like probably 12 or 13 when I did that.
That's incredible.
Well, I guess I'll show you this sheep bronze first. This is that one I commissioned to do. This will be a stone sheep.
Wow.
Just finished that. I guess we got it back from the foundry maybe 3 or 4 months ago. I knew from a pretty young age what I wanted to do when I grew up. For a long time I'd say I wanted to be a professional hunter or professional fisherman, but once I got older I pretty much knew that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a taxidermist when I grew up and work in the shop. So this is the wolf mount that I did. It was just a really fun project to work on. It's supposed to look like ice, and I put these bubbles underneath the ice and the artificial water to make it look like there's still some water flowing underneath. And that's a wolf that we had an extra hide in the cape that had been in the freezer for probably 25 years. And I finally pulled it out and we mounted it. It was still good. The wolf hide sat in the freezer for about 25 years because the guy couldn't mount it because his wife wouldn't let him mount it, and so he gave it to us, and so we mounted it.
You gave him 25 years to come get it?
Yeah, and he never did anything with it, so we got it. We were all shocked that the tan was still in good condition.
That's a trophy of a lifetime.
Yeah.
Wolf, come on.
And it's surprising after all those years that the hide was still in good mounting condition too. It's one of those things I always heard growing up: if you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. And I always took that to heart. I knew, you know, maybe I could get a job that I'd make more money in, maybe not, but I knew that it would be more important for me to do something that I love.
This segment of the Journal of the Texas Trophy Hunters is made possible through a partnership with Horizon Firearms, custom long-range rifles and accessories.
Few people have had such a profound contribution to the hunting culture of Texas like Joe Hibler. I call him Dr. Hibler because his mind works like a man far beyond his simple background. His inventions, his dedication has evolved into a legacy of preserving lifelong memories for generations of people from all over the world attracted to the outdoors. Being here is like being home because it was here where my life was changed forever. The concept of Texas Trophy Hunters, a lot of people don't know this, was dreamed up right here at Hibler's Taxidermy.
Wow.
I was sitting on a 6-foot step ladder, and we dreamed the concept up right there.
My grandpa and Jerry are real gems to the South Texas hunting industry. They are a part of the old hunting culture of South Texas. They both have a legacy that's impacted where hunting has gone in South Texas too. It's hard to mention South Texas and hunting without mentioning Joe Hibler or Jerry Johnston.
The first magazine that ever came out was only 32 pages long. I had no idea what I was doing when I started Texas Trophy Hunters. It was 1975 and my job as a salesperson for a hunting club had gone about as far as it could. And seeing what Ray Scott had done with largemouth bass, I figured I could do the same thing with white-tailed deer. And it was Joe Hibler who encouraged me and helped me never give up during those hard times.
I've always heard of the Texas Trophy Hunters. I never knew it was at one time called Texas Hunter Hotline.
I was just fixing to point that out. As you saw, the early issues of our magazine was called Texas Hunters Hotline.
Wow.
And somewhere in between, we thought about expanding it to a national deal, so we called it American, and it lasted about 1 year because people just started quitting. They don't want nothing national. They want it Texas.
I never realized that it went from Texas Hunter Hotline to American Trophy Hunters and then to the Journal of the Texas Trophy Hunters.
That's correct.
So what do you think about when you see these old magazines?
You know, getting back to the old days, like what we were talking about, him helping me get these memberships sold and dreaming up the name of the company and all that stuff. The feeling that I grew up with, being a South Texas hunter and being in this taxidermy shop, is something that I somehow wanted to make the magazine reflect that. I wanted everybody to see hunting like I saw it. Boy, oh boy. As can be expected, Alan's time in the brush is precious. It's late February, and I've invited Alan Hibler to my place in South Texas for a whitetail hunt. Hopefully, it'll go better than his bobcat hunt earlier.
We're gonna head over to a blind we call the Frog Pond, and we're gonna go sit on top of that thing. It's up on a tank dam. And we have some pictures of a mature buck coming in there. Real nice 10-pointer, post rut, but kind of been after him all year, but he's eluded us. So now hopefully later in the season here we can locate him and see if we can't get him on the ground.
Alan's guide is Rodney Morbach.
You know, a lot of people think of places with big trees and mountains as being beautiful, and they certainly are, but there's a lot of things that as you spend time in South Texas that you learn to appreciate. The white-tailed deer and the road runners and javelinas and cactus, it all comes together to make really beautiful scenery. This time of the year is just really busy for me. It's just almost 7 days a week, and I just really am glad to get away anytime I can. And there's nothing that I'd rather do than go hunting. It's kind of hot, sunny, but he seemed to be pretty confident that there was going to be something to shoot. He'd just put out some cameras and checked the pictures, and there were definitely some shooters that were coming in.
Even though there are hundreds of whitetail antlers back at Hibler's waiting to be mounted, Alan only has a short time for a deer hunt, and Rodney gets a brief glimpse of a good buck.
Yeah, go ahead and get your gun up in the way there.
23-year-old Alan Hibler and his guide, Rodney Morbach, are in a tower blind, deep in the South Texas brush. It's a rare window of opportunity for Alan, one of the busiest taxidermists in the business. It's Alan's granddad, Joe Hibler, who is regarded as royalty in these parts with his taxidermy shop and wild game processing facility. Hibler's in Kingsville, Texas, is where the idea of Texas trophy hunters was born more than 40 years ago. Alan is already an accomplished artist with his sculptures and award-winning mounts. It's February, a late afternoon hunt, and the sun has just slipped below the horizon.
We're up in a high tower blind and could see the deer coming from a long ways away, and right as it started getting dark, we knew we better kind of start getting serious and really paying attention because the big buck should start moving.
It's mature.
We both realized it was a mature buck. Looked like it was an 8-point, had some broken points. So Rodney took a real good look at him and made sure that he fit the criteria, made sure it was a good one to take and that it was mature. And he gave me the green light, and so I got the gun and I wasn't one to argue. Where this deer was, I kind of had to lean way over, and it took me a while to get comfortable. It was kind of a very awkward angle. I knew it wasn't a huge buck, but I did realize it was definitely a good one to take out of the herd. And it's not always about shooting the biggest buck on the pasture, you know. I just enjoyed getting away from the shop. Saw him just dropping his tracks, and that's always a good feeling. You know, you got them when they do that. You don't have to worry about tracking them or them getting away or anything like that.
Well, it looks like we don't have to track them.
Yeah, it's nice when they fall like that. Makes it easy. One of the reasons why you see really good quality deer in South Texas is the management. 90% of it isn't about shooting big bucks. 90% is about shooting the management deer that you need to take off the place, so you have the 10% that is good bucks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, he busted that point off there, I guess, with the rut, but...
There's nothing wrong with that one.
No.
Yes, sir.
Good, mature
Well,
South Texas deer. Yes, sir.
Great guide, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Look at he's all busted up on the forehead from fighting. So since he's all busted up here, a lot of these points here, and this one here, could y'all fix that at the shop?
Definitely, yeah. We'd have to do quite a few of those, and my dad has done them so many times over the years. He's gotten really good at it. Y'all give me a call anytime y'all have management bucks to take, because I never get tired of this. This is where it's at.
We do it. We appreciate having y'all.
That's just a part of the hunting culture in South Texas is the management. It's heavily valued. It's just as important and just as rooted in South Texas as the prickly pear and the yuccas and the mesquite trees.
My man!
Yes, sir.
My man!
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. This, your professional guide found this right here.
Oh my Lord, look at that sucker.
Yeah, that's it.
And everything we've seen, I'm talking about 25 to 30% of all the bucks we've seen, they've either lost both horns or they've lost one. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That is the big boy.
Yeah, Rodney was
That's
saying.
an older deer too.
Yeah, and Rodney was saying that's just a real good buck to take too.
Oh, for sure.
It made me feel real good to pull up with a kill. Before we went on that hunt, he put the mojo on me. He said, good luck, so maybe there's something to it.
Hurry up, kids!
The one part that was missing about this hunting trip was my grandpa. It would have been great if he could have been here and gotten to see that and gotten to reminisce with Jerry. And as long as we have the taxidermy, Jerry Johnston is welcome anytime.
Man, oh man, what a day.
It seems to me that God's done two things for us. He put beautiful antlers on deer heads and put something inside of our brains that just makes us go crazy for him. And that was a pretty good trip.
The Journal of the Texas Trophy Hunters is made possible through a partnership with Kubota. For every task, every terrain, there's a Kubota dealer in your area. Sniper hunting products, changing the game of wireless game cameras. And Horizon Firearms, custom long-range rifles and accessories.